So the big note from Victory Road, the final point, the debut of the Macho Man Randy Savage, strolls out at the end of the show, points at Hall, Nash and Jarrett, and that's it. That's our hook for TV. But because it's TNA, Liam, you cannot have somebody like Randy Savage showing up without drama.
I mean, I would be disappointed if there wasn't drama.
So we talked extensively back in 2003 about how TNA wanted to bring in Hulk Hogan, about how TNA wanted to build their first 3-hour Sunday pay-per-view around Hulk Hogan. He was meant to wrestle Jeff Jarrett. They delayed that Bound for Glory 3 times before cancelling it because Hogan wasn't going to show up. Well, guess who showed up to Victory Road 04, Liam?
Yeah.
The Hulkster himself was just hanging around.
Didn't want to come hang out? Didn't want to go shoot a segment?
Oh, so Randy Savage made a surprise appearance at the end of TNA's Victory Road pay-per-view after negotiations with Sting fell through. They wanted a lot of people. They didn't get them all, but they wanted DDP for these shows too, but couldn't get him in time. He showed up on TV though. Savage was supposed to come in what was supposed to be like the beginning of a main event run. 2 days later, he cancelled his TV taping appearance, citing the involvement of Hulk Hogan in TNA as his reason. Hogan was invited to attend the TNA pay-per-view near his Florida home by TNA owner Bob Carter, father of TNA president Dixie Carter. When Hogan arrived, he bumped into Savage. Savage and Hogan have had a love-hate relationship, which we documented on Patreon because we reviewed the Be a Man album.
Be a Man, Hulk.
Great song. All-time diss track. But they've had a love-hate relationship over the years, mostly hate on Savage's side, since Hogan's wife Linda provided a safe haven for Savage's then wife Elizabeth when she was separated from him. Hogan told Savage backstage something to the effect of, "You know I've always got your back, bro." Savage snapped back, "Yeah, that check will clear." There was reports that maybe they had a scuffle, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Savage walked away and avoided Hogan for the rest of the night. Hogan, once again, is negotiating with TNA about potentially coming on board, but apparently there wasn't serious talks about him actually appearing on camera at Victory Road.
You think that he's such a glory hound that he'd just do it?
Especially this is a success story for the company and all of a sudden Hulkster's there, smelling like blood in the water. There's attention for me now as opposed to these shitty asylum shows.
Yeah.
Savage, now 52, informed Jeff Jarrett late on Tuesday afternoon he wasn't going to attend that evening's taping as scheduled, saying he wouldn't work with TNA as they were working with Hogan. As of last word, TNA had apparently soothed over the problem with Savage and expected him to return to TV the following week. So you get the debut of the Macho Man. You get what is legitimately a great moment to end the pay-per-view on. A big hook that the Macho Man Randy Savage, one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling of the 20 years prior, has debuted even though he's 52 and not looking quite like the Macho Man anymore.
He looks like Jeff Jarrett Last Outlaw.
He does. That's where clearly Jarrett got the look from. He also looks like Bonesaw from the Spider-Man films. Striking resemblance.
If he wrestled, he should have worn the Bonesaw gear.
He should have done the Bonesaw's ready catchphrase.
His classic catchphrase.
That everybody knows and loves from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
That's everyone's favorite Randy Savage line.
It's Randy Savage, big star, and in typical TNA fashion, it blows up in their face because fucking Hulk Hogan finally decided to show up.
They should have just not invited Hulk. They should have moved on.
Well, especially when you get Savage. It's like Savage agrees to appear, not just show up, not just hang around backstage. He agrees to be part of the product in a main event push.
Seems to be into it.
And that's your program moving forward, Savage and Jarrett, for as good as that's worth. And you blow it up in his face immediately by inviting him. And he claims he felt double-crossed, that TNA was an unsafe work environment. There was also some thought that he was looking for an out, that he agreed to do the one-off payday for, I think it was 25 grand was the number reported for the... And all he does is walk out for 40 seconds.
And also, it's not like he's selling pay-per-views. They didn't promote it.
Yeah, it was a surprise. So I guess the idea is to come back the next month with the big Savage match to hook everybody, which is probably not the worst idea.
Well, then sign him to a 2-appearance deal at minimum.
Well, that's classic TNA, because they do the same thing with DDP. DDP's first appearance is also without a deal.
Great.
There's also a bunch of hand-wringing this month about them starting to mention Hall and Nash on TV, also before they had actually put pen to paper.
Yeah, well, worked out.
That worked out fine, but this company learns absolutely nothing. So some thought Savage was like taking the payday and then looking for an excuse to back away, something he did do with the World Wrestling All-Stars, a cursed company that we may be talking about more towards Christmas with our friends over in Days of Thunder, but it's their own fault for putting him on TV without a contract.
I was going to say it's our own fault for getting involved with Days of Thunder.
Oh, it is. Them throwing slander my way on their recent episode. Clearly, I shall use my platform here to retaliate and not plug a largemanappears.com.
Make a horrific rumor about one of them.
Dave likes Elon Musk. That's the best I can come up with. Which is a horrific rumor in its own right.
Is a notorious royalist.
Oh, that will hurt Dave personally.
Yeah. You know what I heard?
Oh, go on.
Garrett, I heard that Dave was at Queen Lizzie's funeral and was one of those I was hanging out with one of those Tories in like his button-up shirt and he was crying on camera.
He was one of those who stood in line for like 27 hours just to see her in rest.
Yeah, I heard Dave had protected tweets where he was going after anyone that was making light of Queen Lizzie's death.
Oh, the Christmas episode's going to be fun this year.
Depends if they hear this.
Observers say there were no serious talks about having Hogan appear on camera at the pay-per-view, despite internet reports to the contrary. Hogan spent some time talking with TNA owners Dixie and Bob Carter, whom witnesses describe as marking out for Hogan.
They were marking out all show too.
Oh yeah, because you could see them. They were, third row in the actual stand. So you have the pit and then you have the stand in front of it. They were like third row. If you watch the spot where Abyss is powerbombed to thumbtacks for the first time in TNA history in the Monsters Ball, there's actually a reaction shot of Dixie in there.
Fair play to the cameraman who got that shot.
She was very concerned. It's actually very funny to think about, like, that was an era where no one really knew what Dixie looked like.
Well, we only picked up on it because we know now.
Yeah, so she wasn't a television character, obviously, at that stage. She was long from being a television character, 5 years away. But also, she just wasn't, like, a particularly visible public figure. So she could probably sit in the crowd. I'd imagine some people would be like, you know, that's the owner of the company. But it's not, like, a thing that, like, she couldn't do that in 2010 without drawing serious attention. She'd sit in, like, the front row in those days on the opposite side of the hard camera, as opposed to, like, being literally in the crowd on the hard camera side.
Fun little Easter egg.
Hogan arrived at the pay-per-view in a decked-out Mercedes that impressed nearly everybody. He rode to the pay-per-view with Brian Knobbs. Savage, on the other hand, arrived with Brian Adams of Chronic. Battle of the Brian Entourage.
What is this motherfucker's deal with trying to get Brian Knobbs into this goddamn company?
Get into every company he's ever worked. In fairness, there's one thing you could say about Hogan. He's loyal to his guys, even if his guys are fucking dog shit.
He's loyal to his guys until he's not.
He's loyal to Eric and frickin' Brutus Beefcake and Brian Knobbs.
Yeah, really excited to relive those eras.
We'll have more drama with Savage coming up going into Turning Point, so you can look forward to that next month. But he does come back, so there's that. It would be a lot funnier if he walked out at the end of your big first 3-hour pay-per-view. Your big moment is Randy Savage is here, and then he's never seen again.
I'd be down for it.
Which would be the ultimate tribute to the Asylum era of people showing up and never being seen again.
Yeah, that would be kind of a nice little bow on it all.
Remember Gorgeous George at the end of the King of the Mountains? Like, Jarrett wins the belt.
I do.
They cut to Gorgeous George in the crowd, and she's seen like one other time also in the crowd before disappearing.
That's good. That's good times. Vader, Road Warriors.